Come to me with this problem and you'd like to heal this problem. So if we could heal that feeling that you have, if we could heal that idea or that fear or that problem that's in your life right now, if we could let that go so that could be gone and you could have this instead, would that be a result worthwhile achieving for you today? But once they say yes, then you move ahead. And this is really important because at this stage, any client that comes to me, I don't want to make any promises about an external result that might happen as a result of your life coaching. For example, if someone comes to you and says, look, I really want to achieve this goal by such and such date, but I have fear about achieving that goal. What I would suggest to the client in that instance is I can help you to let go of the fear which is involved in moving forwards towards that goal. And letting go of that fear, you will then know your inner power. And when you know your inner power, then you can move forward without fear towards that goal. However, in doing that, at the same time, once you've let go of that fear and you're in your power, I do not know whether that result will come about because you don't know what's going to happen in that client's life or their lifestyle. In that situation, they might change jobs. The company which they're in might go bankrupt. You don't know what's going to happen in that person's life, so you cannot guarantee that they're going to achieve those results. What you can help that person to find is the power that they have within, because once they find that power, that is all they need to move forwards towards creating and achieving the results that they really want. Sometimes people might have a fantasy about a goal that they think they want, but in truth they don't really want it. But they might set up this fantasy saying, okay, this is what I think I want, so I'm going to set this goal and I'm going to move towards that. If you did everything to help that person achieve that goal, you might be helping someone to achieve something they don't really want. So instead, when you help someone find their own power and help them to move from that place, letting go of all fear, they know what to do and they can move forward without the things that used to block them before. So once you've got their agreement that that is all that you're going to help them find because it is all that they need, that's when you can move forward and we move into step 5. The step 5 is to help the client to disassociate from the problem. What that means is that we help the client to understand that the problem is not them. Because one of the challenges that many people have is they may identify themselves with the problem. They may feel that they're stuck with the problem. So what we do is we help the client to disassociate from the problem. And what that means is that seeing the problem as outside of them enables them to look at it from another perspective. If a client's feeling stuck in a problem, by helping the client understand that the problem is not them, the problem is outside of them, then you separate them from the problem, you disassociate them from the problem so that they can then work on that problem from the view of it outside of them. So it's a kind of a reversal process. We take the problem, we put it outside of them, and then we work to help the client to dissolve the problem by first moving into step 6. What we do in step 6, we help the client to find their power. Now, once a client finds their power, that is all that they need to solve that problem. The challenge is that many people hold on to fear, hold on to guilt, hold on to limiting beliefs. They might even hold on to the problem in the fear of finding their power. But once you help someone to find their power, then they can dissolve the problem from that power. And the way we do that, we'll go through some questions later on and help you to work with the client to finding their own power. Once they've found their own power, then that power will heal that problem, and you can assist them in that process with some of the language skills that I'm going to share with you. Some of the language skills, by the way, I'm going to share with you is in one of the other videos that you might see here. One of them is on NLP. NLP is a tool that you can use, linguistics. So if you've ever delved into linguistics before, basically it's just pulling apart language, interpreting language, understanding what is the language that your client's using, and how can we work with that language to undo some of the beliefs that they have. Some very, very effective language skills which you can use, many people use in sales and negotiation, in companies and advertising. NLP is used very often without people's awareness because it's a very strong influencing, effective language tool. Step 8 is to help the client to fully associate with their power. And what that means is that you've helped the client to find their power through the language skills and the things that we're going to discuss. And at the same time, we've helped the client to dissolve the problem. And when you help the client to then fully associate with their power, meaning that they're fully in their power and they know only their power in that very moment. In the very moment they know only their power, then there is no fear, there is no doubt, there is no uncertainty. Everything, all power is in that moment. When they're in that moment, they might experience happiness, they might experience joy, peace of mind, power. All those things are the result of being in that power. And when they're fully associated with that power, then they will know that that problem is fully gone. And the reason that they know that the problem is fully gone is because they know. There's a difference between, okay, the problem, I still feel a little bit frightened about that problem, maybe a little bit doubtful. When they're in their power, they know the problem is no longer there because they no longer feel attached to it, they no longer feel disempowered by it. They can view the problem, they can still see it, they can see the problem outside of themselves. However, the feelings of fear or attachment or whatever feelings that they have to that problem can be dissolved. Once you've helped a client to reach that stage, then it's simply a matter of doing some future pacing. What that means is simply helping them going through that process, which you just did. You can then teach them or coach them how to do that with any other problems in their life. So let's say what you would do once they've found their power, to make sure that that problem is gone, you could then say, okay, let's imagine it's sometime in the future now. And just go back to being in your power. So the client's fully in their power, fully associated with their power, which I'm going to share with you how to do, by the way. Once they're in the power, you can say, okay, now imagine a time in the future. Let's say if that old problem was coming back, let's say it was feelings about rejection. Someone was disturbed about feelings of rejection. So let's say you're fully in your power now. Imagine that person was going to reject you again. Or that presentation. Imagine those people were going to reject you again. As you're in your power now, seeing that rejection outside of you, how do you feel about that now? And then you just collaborate with them. So you find out, what are the responses, and do they feel a little bit hesitant about it still? Are they still a little bit doubtful? Or do they fully know that that problem is gone? And you might do it a couple of times if you want. Really, you will know when they know. There should be no uncertainty there. If there is any uncertainty, then you can just work them a little bit more until they fully associate with their power. And then once they've gone through that process, and this is up to you, you could then show them, okay, is there anything else that might be disturbing you in your life right now? Any other concerns that you might have? And so they might come up with another concern, and you can go through the same process again, show them, okay, go back to your power and being in that place of being the power that you are. See that problem outside of you, and how do you feel about that problem now? And just let it dissolve, or whatever the words that we're going to use to help that client to dissolve that problem. And as that problem is then dissolved, you can work through them with another problem and another problem until they are comfortable with going out and using that same process themselves. So there's a summary of the 9 steps, the system to help someone to solve or heal any problem that's presented to them. Know also that this system, being in those 9 steps, doesn't mean that it has to be in that order, and it doesn't mean that they necessarily you have to go through every single step, because sometimes you might go through the steps and then find that you maybe need to go back a step, go forward a step. This is a rough guideline to give you some sort of system that you can go out there and use to do life coaching with, and at any stage you know that you can go back to another step or another step, whatever's necessary at the time. It's crucial that we have flexibility in our life coaching. What that means is that whatever problem is presented to you, if it's now time to establish rapport, and you then delve into discovering beliefs, and all of a sudden you notice perhaps some rapport has been lost, so the person might be feeling a little bit defensive, or a little bit